What is good, everyone? Ben Deal down here in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the Expand Podcast. I am so fired up for our guest today. I have my guy, Conor Watkins. He is a legend in the real estate game down here in Texas, in Houston. Conor is like one of the 30 under 30 rising stars of real estate. Conor has a team of over 40 real estate agents. He's got his own brokerage. He's got an incredible online presence where he drives an incredible lead flow through his business, leveraging social media. Conor's going to be on our panel coming up at the Expand Conference, going to be sharing the insight, wisdom, and experience that he has created, the incredible success early in his career. There's nothing but upside for Conor. And Conor, I'm so fired up to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm introduction, Ben. Yeah, I really look forward to attending this conference and speaking, on behalf of my team and my brokerage, and share some of my downfalls, also some of the accomplishments along the way. Truly has been a journey. So yeah, I've been in real estate. This is my 8th year in real estate. I started right when I was 18 years old. I'm now 25. I've been a broker for almost 2 years. So I got my broker license at 23. Arguably one of the youngest brokers in Texas at the time. And from there, kind of like what you mentioned with the social media, on the business side, but also on the personal side, really took off. And, I started attracting a lot of like-minded agents, and, building a team for me was definitely I feel like was a lot easier than most, because I kind of built that following and, was able to influence a lot of people early in my career. So
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning because, you're having such incredible success so early in life. Where I was when I was in my 20s was a much different place when you were. I was caught up in the corporate game, working for a Fortune 500 company, having a lot of success. I kind of checked all the boxes, good job in school, getting good grades, all that stuff to get the Fortune 500 corporate job. What was it for you in your experience? You got straight into real estate right when you cracked 18. So what does your journey look like, and what was the reason why you chose real estate?
great question. Yeah, I get asked that all the time, especially my age. So my mom was actually a school teacher. I was raised a teacher kid. She taught school for 30 years, graduated A&M, had a master's degree, all that stuff. So, coming out of high school to dive right into real estate was, definitely a choice that I had to make. And of course, my parents always wanted the best for me, go to college, have a safety net type of mentality. But for me, I was just like, you know what, I'm good at sales. I understand customer service. I can't go off and be a car salesman. So, what about real estate, right? And I have no friends or family in real estate. I get asked that all the time. Um, and I think a lot of it had to do the timing of the industry on when I came in. I came in 2016, 2017. Economy was very strong. Also what I first began doing in real estate was very important. So, unlike a lot of traditional residential agents where they go, let's just say they join a traditional brokerage, I targeted one specific niche, which was apartment locating. So, from the age of 18, I learned to make phone calls, send text messages, emails, do all the basic stuff. And these were like apartment deals, right? So, $1,000 apartment or whatever. To me, it wasn't, I wasn't helping like a homeowner find their dream home, right? So to me, I really had very little to lose to begin with. So I quickly gained a lot of knowledge and expertise, how to, talk to people. From there, I kind of got a lot of professionalism. And I was able to do tons of volume. My first year in real estate, I joined a company that had 70 agents, and I was number 2 in the company. The gentleman that was number 1 ahead of me, he was around my age, but his record was 64 leases in 1 month. My record was 34 leases in 1 month. So it was half of what he accomplished, but we actually later ended up becoming roommates, which was pretty crazy and exponential for me and my career. That was definitely a driver. So,
That's so good. So what in going back to that, like what was it? You've got the framework, your parents are educators, my mom was a teacher as well. But what was it that just said, hey, I'm gonna break out on my own. I'm gonna pursue this. I don't know anybody that's doing real estate. Nobody in my family's doing it. Like what drew you to real estate specifically?
yeah, so entrepreneurship in general, I was looking at different network marketing type of companies. I was very attracted, just like a lot of young teenagers, I was very attracted to the materialistic things like, watches, cars, be able to travel, time freedom. That's what attracted me. And I was like, you know what? Maybe real estate would be my vehicle for getting me there. I was really just kind of taking a shot in the dark. And I knew that I couldn't be like everyone else. I kind of had to go against the grain. Otherwise, I would be put in that category. Otherwise, me and you wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So I think a lot of it is I made a lot of good choices, very critical choices that could have, put me in a different direction really early on in my teenage years. And, just kind of ultimately, prove my parents wrong, friends, family. Of course, people doubted me. Even I was not, I was lacking self-confidence. There's a lot of things, right? And the only way you kind of go through that and overcome that adversity is just day in and day out, put in the work. I mean, that's literally what I did my first 3 years before building a brokerage, was put in the work, and I can say, as top producing agent, I reached, not to brag or boast, but reached $400,000 in commissions 1 year just doing apartment locating, which I understand, the cap for one agent to physically, to produce that amount without having to hire assistants. So I think, that led me into being more of a broker leadership manager role, right? Because I kind of understood, starting from scratch to now, okay, what is it like building a small team and then now a medium-sized brokerage? So that's definitely something, just kind of doing it yourself. And then eventually, everything you do kind of just compounds, right? And later it's like, wow, now I put myself in this position where I can expand, right? Which is what this conference is all about, right? Expansion. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so good. And I mean, for those of you that don't know, like in the world of real estate, the apartment locating, helping people find rental properties, that can be a lot of time output, just for sometimes a very little return. So to hear the volume, the opportunity, the number of deals, the number of people that you helped get into those positions, I mean, do 400,000 in commissions just on apartment locating. I mean, that is hundreds and hundreds of people that you're serving in a given year. So that's incredible. When you look back and you look at that time, the production, like where was your mindset? How did you condition your mind, especially around expansion, growth, getting in the trenches, doing the work? Because a lot of people get into real estate, they get super fired up. They're excited about the opportunity, the unlimited possibility, and they got to get to work. And some people, when they get to work, they realize, man, this is not what I thought it was going to be. What was it for you that was kind of your breakthrough? And how did you manage your mindset, as you've gone through this incredible growth, period in your business?
Great question. Yeah. So I've interviewed close to 200 agents up until this day. Everyone's goal is to do six figures. My goal when I came into real estate was to do like 50,000 a year. I didn't know what to expect. I told myself, I would be okay if I made 50 grand a year. That's really, yeah, it's comfortable for some, but for others, now I look back at that, it's like, if I make 50 grand, I wouldn't be in good shape right now. But no, so how I did that is I looked at it as like, okay, if you treat it like a business, it's going to pay like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay like a hobby. Real estate in general, we're independent contractors, right? Nobody here gets paid a salary. Everything's commission based. And how you determine what your time is worth is your output. What are you doing in terms of production? I call it, income producing activities, right? So a lot of people, especially brand new agents, they lack, self-discipline. They haven't established a routine. Maybe they need a mentor. They need some sort of guidance. I've been there. I know how it feels. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. I kind of had to, I paid the tuition fee plus tax, I call that, because I had to learn through failures and losses. Almost everything that I've done, I've learned through a failure or a loss, whether it was real estate investing, building my own brokerage systems, hiring the right people, hiring the wrong people. Everything I purely just did out of my, I was like, there's no better way to learn something than just by doing it. Right. So that's kind of how, and then eventually, I built a routine, I built a schedule. From there, I was like, you know what, rather than reinventing the wheel for somebody else, let me just give them my blueprint, right? Hey, look, if you follow my footsteps, and here's the thing, you can't mimic me exactly, right? We have different personalities, we have different lifestyles, but if you can just implement half of what I'm giving you, that's going to save you a lot of time, energy, effort. Later on, you're going to look back and you're like, wow, Conor really helped me out with this. When you spend all those days and months, potentially years, trying to figure it out yourself, could cost you a lot of time and money later on. So I think that's a big part.
Yeah. And what have you found when you look back over your career so far? A lot of entrepreneurs I talk to and people who going to be involved with us at this event, what has been the one moment that you kind of look back on? It's kind of your expansion moment. You made this one decision, and then from that point in time, everything is just transformed and changed. It can be good, bad, different, a challenging time, but do you have an idea or a time in mind when you hit that moment, and then from that point forward, everything else is transformed?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my fourth going into fifth year in real estate, when I just got my broker license, this was end of 2021. That was definitely when I felt like everything was taken off. Just to put into perspective, so I went from a team of 7 agents, including myself, to about 56 in 12 months or less. I was going to say maybe 9 months, but to not sugarcoat things, I would say 12 months. That's exponential. That's almost, it was too much. I had to quickly put the right people in the right places, systems, processes, I had to invest more money, had to scale back, had to fire, had to hire. And, I really, to get to that, I only had to interview about 150 to 200 agents. So and I was picky and choosy, right? I look at the qualifications, look at the experience, see, okay, is this person going to be a good fit for our culture? And I would say maybe I was hiring 1 out of 4. So it's not like I was just hiring anybody and everybody. I was still being selective, but that was a year that things just took off, and I don't regret doing it. It's just that I knew I was going to have different hurdles and different problems later on, based off of I expanded too fast. I expanded so fast. I was like, man, how cool would it to be? I'm sorry. How cool would it be to have 100 agents at 24 years old, youngest broker? Now I'm like, okay, now I know who my true competitor is, where I could potentially be by the time I'm 30. And I was just like, let's just see what happens, right? And that could go really well, and that could go also really bad for you. So I think just learning from that and some of those experiences, I was able to kind of adapt. And yeah, now fast forward, I have not only an apartment locating team, but I also have a full service residential team. A lot of the leads that we generate on the rental side end up becoming buyers, so it works out pretty well. Also have full, content team, billing, all that type of stuff. So it really is a lot have to do with where am I getting at with this?
No, it's all
I think
good.
I answered.
So yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it, man. I mean, I just think in people that are new to real estate or, been in real estate for a while, that type of expansion is like incredible. That growth, I mean, literally exponential on top of exponential, to go through that. So, I'm excited. I mean, it's been a cool thing to witness and just kind of see your journey. And one of the ways that we get to share, I get to experience your journey is through social media. So if we can talk about social real quick, what does that look like for you? Why did that become such a foundation for your business? And more importantly, how have you been able to consistently execute and build upon that?
Absolutely. Great question. So really, I looked at social media as just like a personal thing up until about 2018. I started building out some business pages. My most popular one is apartment specials on Instagram. We have close to 65,000 followers, I think, right now. Overall, we built that organically from about 2018 to 2023. We're going on about 5 years now. It really didn't start taking off until, especially social media platforms, they take about 1 to 2 minimum years for it to actually take off, and you start getting that larger reach. Now I think we're gaining somewhere between like 500 to 1,000 followers a week organically, zero ad spend. Again, a lot of these, people are just, they look at it, it's like, I don't think people quite understand what it takes to build a page like that and also to maintain it. And then once you build a page like that, then you got other set of issues, like how are you going to respond to the DMs? Who's going to check on the comments, and how are these going to convert to leads, and stuff like that. And then also there's a psychological and human behavior behind it as well. It's like, okay, what do people want? Like, how do I fine tune my marketing? What should the content team, what should we go grab this week? And different creative ideas that also need to be implemented. So I think the biggest thing is consistency. A lot of new agents and people who try to do social media for lead generation, they lack consistency, quality. We have some of the best quality cameras, editors, all that stuff. So if you look at our page, we're even doing drone footage. We're really standing out above the competition. We're posting every single day, stories, doing all that stuff. So, and that's what our audience and engagements, that's what they're used to seeing. And you kind of set the tone for your followers. At the end of the day, it's your audience. You can choose the direction that you want to take it. But if you don't have those basic fundamentals and you just kind of, say, oh, I'm going to post once a week, or, let's go do this new construction home tour, and then maybe next month I'll do another one, you're just not going to see the same traction or results that you'll see from some of these bigger pages.
That's so good. So, one of the big things that I heard you say is the consistency, and it's a delayed, there's like a time investment. So a lot of people get into real estate. Hey, I'm going to go out and make 100 grand this year. Hey, I'm going to post a YouTube video. It'll get 1 million likes. Like, they think, and that's the thing where I know a lot of people kind of have to get calibrated with, especially around the mindset of, hey, if you're looking to do something on social, and I'm working on it and I've been able to see what you've been doing, but from people that are having success, that is what they're saying. It is an upfront investment. You've got to have a long runway and a perspective that, hey, this thing may not start clicking for 9 months, 12 months, 2 years. And so there's got to be a long-term commitment. Some people are like, yeah, I'll start doing social. And just like you said, they'll do one thing here, and then they'll stop for a while and whatever else. But just for context, how important is social to your business?
It's crucial. I mean, now I look at the target demographic, who our leads, who our audience are. It's younger people like myself. I'll say between the ages of 25, 35, median wage make between 40, 50,000 a year. Maybe they're relocating for work or coming down. They need to rent their first year an apartment. And I've lived in 4 different apartments, high rises myself, before I bought my house. So I understand exactly, what it's like being at my age, and the leads and audience. A lot of my team members are around the same age as well. So we resonate very well to a lot of our clients and audience, and overall, it increases conversions. Like, I think that, and then what was the other question? I think you had another question, right?
Well, so what mix of your business is driven through, your social platforms?
Oh yeah. So social media is huge for us. We generate, thousands of leads per month. These are rental leads. I would say average budgets between 13 to 1,500. Several, most 1-bedroom clients. We do have some 2 bedrooms, but a lot of these people are single, between the ages of 25, 35. And we, focus on Class A, Class B communities that, obviously going to pay realtors and locators, treat them well. Part of the duty is building relationships with communities. And eventually, ultimately I have two clients in this business. I have the client who's like the person leasing the apartment, and then also have the client who's the community, the manager. I'm a vendor with them as well. So I have to keep everyone happy. And as far as apartment locating goes, if you're only doing like a couple leases a month, you're really not going to make a lot of money. You ask anybody, I mean, there's a process, there's a time it takes to get paid in this business. So the only way you truly, for it to be lucrative, you have to do volume. Now, what I consider volume is, I would say, minimum 10, 15 leases a month. Now you can still do 5, 6, 7 leases a month at $2,000 a pop. Let's say they're all high rises and stuff. You can make 15,000 a month pretty comfortably, but you got to factor in the time it takes to get paid. If you have any commission splits, did you pay for those leads? Were those leads given to you? Were they company leads? Stuff like that. So I think that's where I stand out is, through social media, we generate thousands of leads that I'm able to offer to my team for free, just to get the ball rolling. So literally, the moment you join my brokerage, and you tell me, hey, Connor, look, I'm all in. I want to do this as a career. I can start you off with 3 to 5 leads per day, where you're actively calling. These are people who, need an apartment. They're warm leads. They impart on our page. You won't be doing any cold calling. You won't be door knocking, none of that prospecting. Like everything's pretty much handed to you. And of course, we have the software and systems behind that help keeps our agents organized. We track KPIs, how many texts, calls were made, scripts, all that stuff. So a lot of different key elements come into play, but the big thing for most agents who want to do this as a career is right mentality, self-discipline, routine. And again, just don't treat it like a hobby. Treat it like coming into this with an open mind. Yes, you can make a career out of this. There's very few people like myself out there, but again, it goes to show if you do this, everything that you do every day compounds, and eventually you're going to be setting yourself up for success. One thing I want to add on, because I get this question a lot, is like, hey, Connor, I want to do apartment locating, or I want to do residential because, you get paid faster. And actually, and what I've seen in this industry is that's actually false. No matter what you do in this industry, whether it's apartment locating, residential, new construction, flipping homes, wholesaling, it really doesn't matter. Average time, in my eyes, is 90 days. And that's from what I call start to finish, right? You got the client, from client to qualified, from, whatever the process is, there's timelines in real estate. So I tell my agents, hey, look, what you do now affects your income 3 to 6 months from now. What you do today will affect, okay, am I going to get paid in September? So, and that's the thing. You might start receiving checks. You might get very comfortable. You might be taking vacations, but now you're setting your future self up for, maybe not as good months. So it's just staying persistent and really getting, just be a driver. That's really it.
Yeah. Yeah, and absolutely. I think that's one of the things, I speak with people about all the time. Real estate is not an instant gratification game. It's just not. It's a delayed gratification game. Even when you have someone that you're working and you're serving with to, rent a place, get into a place, buy, it, like you said, you're right on it. 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months into the future, 3 years, 5 years, you really have no idea. And so, yeah, that perspective is so critically important. And when, just as we wrap up, like from where you are now, creating incredible success, what is that next level of expansion or growth for you? What's your next target? What do you have your eyes set on?
Yeah. So next target, I want to focus on a little bit more on my personal brand now. I've invested so much into my business that was the only thing that I focused on. I really if I really I could blow up on my personal side if I wanted to, especially being a young and up and coming broker. And especially with the content media stuff that's going on right now, we have the right team. I think if I treat, my whole personal brand, everything like I do my business, I could see very similar results. Now, what would that look like? That's something that I have a few different options, right? As we grow, I could be the lead marketing platform, for apartments. I could be the lead apartment locating brokerage. I could be, I could help multifamily investors lease their communities. I could add value in so many different ways. And I think it's important as we scale and grow that, we look at all the different vehicles and its obstacles, because everything has its opportunity cost, right? So it's like, okay, do I want to manage 300 agents one day? Or do I see myself, becoming the next apartment lead marketing platform, where, we're selling leads and distributing that way to agents? Or do I see myself, that's something I think time will tell. I think I don't have that answer today, but I know at this pace and where we're headed, definitely, by the time I'm 30, I think I'll be in a pretty good spot, whatever I'm doing. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. I'm focus has never been an issue for me. It's more of the long-term clarity.
No, it's so good. And hey, Conor, thank you so much. Time's already flown by. More importantly, if you have not met Conor, you have got to get in the room to meet Conor on June 20th here in Houston. Go to expandhouston.com to grab your tickets. They're going fast. We're almost sold out. So if you don't get into the room, you got to take advantage of the opportunity now, because Conor, like you said, he's a guy on the move. And if you want to be with and affiliate with people that are making the kind of moves that Conor's making and has made, to glean off of his experience and the energy and his team and everything that he's doing, you've got the opportunity to be in the room with him and the other top real estate agents, brokers, and investors in Houston. So, Conor, thanks so much again for joining us today. If people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so follow me on Instagram. It's broker Watkins. Again, my apartments page, it's apartment.specials. And yeah, shoot me a DM. I'd love to connect. I love building relationships, whether it's investors, agents, vendors, it really doesn't matter. I believe, there's different ways we can provide value for each other. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys there on June 20th.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks, Conor. Appreciate you. And we'll see you at Expand Houston.